Yeah, so we are gonna load a picture into our sketches. It's not gonna be a Darth Vader head because I said I was gonna search tacos. So let's go look for a picture of a taco. And by the way, there's an important thing about searching for images that you need to know. If you search for an image in Google for tacos, there's all sorts of lovely pictures of tacos here, but they don't make for great stamps. You probably want a picture of a taco that has a transparent border around it, right? Like you don't want to be drawing a picture with the plate that's cut off on the edges and stuff. That's just going to look awkward. So here's how you search for transparent images. You might have your own techniques. There's multiple ways of doing it. Here's how I like to do it. I would go to Tools at the end of this. So here's where you search. We're in Images. At the end of the line is Tools. And then you can go to Color and select Transparent. And then it's just transparent background tacos for you to make a stamp out of. Oh man, I'm so hungry. I'm so hungry. Why did I do this to myself? This one looks pretty good, hey? Sweet. Look, that's way too much beans though. But that's okay. To each their own. I don't know how you guys like your tacos. So here's a picture of a taco. I recommend don't save this picture. Sometimes people will right click and save this picture, but you should right click and then I would choose this if you're in Chrome. It's Open Image in New Tab, because this is technically a preview image that's scaled down in lesser quality. So I'm going to open this image in a new tab, which means it's open over here now. And oh yeah, there it is. Look, it's you can see the image quality is significantly better when you open it in a new tab. Does it really matter at the end of the day? I mean, it's just a button, so whatever, it's fine. But if you want your taco to be as crisp and unpixelated as possible, then this is how to do it. So that's step one, is finding your picture. Very important step. And try to select ones with transparent backgrounds. Step two is saving your picture in the right place. Honestly, this is the hardest part. Lots of students, they're like, how come this didn't work? And usually it's because they didn't save it in the right place. And I know that this has become more difficult every year, because every year people care less and less about files. If you primarily compute, interact with the computer on a phone or a tablet, when do you ever use files? You don't, right? What's a file even? Some people might not even know really files. That's totally understandable. And I don't know what to say about that other than, hey, guess what? We're going to have to worry about files today. So we're going to save our file in a particular folder. And I'm going to show you how you can make sure you nail it every time. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to save this picture. So I'm going to right-click on it and choose Save Image As. This is in Chrome. If you're in a different browser, it might save something slightly different. Now, it's called crisp.png, yes. So actually, I would suggest you choose a name that's very simple. Oftentimes, when you go to download a picture from the internet, it's A7G543WXY. It's 24 letters long. You're like, wow, what is this? Don't save that. Some people do, and then they try to type that into processing, and they get it spelled wrong because it's just an alphabet soup of letters. And it's make your life easier. Even crisp is no good. Taco. There we go. Taco.png. That's what you want. And notice the .png. That's really important. That's something that everyone forgets. What does that .png mean? So in a file is broken into two things. It's the name, in this case taco, and then it's called the extension, the dot whatever, right? .png. It tells the computer what kind of file it is. And if you change it, guess what? The file doesn't change. If I change this to taco.exe, it doesn't turn into a taco game or something where I can play it. If I change it to JPEG, it doesn't just change into a different file format. It is a PNG, and you should save it as a PNG. But notice that that's part of the file name. So when you go to load it, you have to say taco and then put in .png as well. And unfortunately, our computers here are set up to hide the extension. It's really annoying. And I don't know why the school board won't change it. They're like, no, the extensions must be hidden to make it simple. Actually makes things harder. So when you look in your folder, you'll just see the word taco, or whatever your file is called. You won't see .png. So right now, I'm just going to mentally be like, okay, I'm remembering taco.png. So note that when you go to save it. And where do you save it? Well, the short answer is you save it in the same place where your sketch is, but that's not obvious. So what I will show you is I will save it to the desktop, and then I'm going to show you how you can get the sketch folder from within processing, and then I'll just drag it over. So that's the way I suggest to do it. If you already know where your sketch is saved, and you have no problems with navigating files and folders and that kind of stuff, then just put it in the same place where your .pde file is, the processing program itself, or not the program, so they sketch your code, your source code that you've written, that goes in the same place. But if you're not 100% confident that you can find that, then watch what I do. I'm just going to save to my desktop, and I'll go and say, click save. And so, you'll be able to find it on your desktop. I don't know what's all on my desktop today. Oh, that wasn't the right thing. Here we go. There it is, taco.png. Tacos. And then, the fastest way to get to your sketch folder is when you're in your sketch, and you have to have saved it first, by the way. So save your sketch if you haven't. And then the fast way is to press Control-K or Command-K if you're on a Mac. Watch what happens if I press Control-K. Nothing. Oh, that's so embarrassing. The command button's not working. I gotta just close processing here. I'll just close it. There's something weird with a Mac and processing where the hotkeys stop working. So let me open it again. Where's my beginning program? Here we go. Oh man. Actually, maybe I should just double check that these are all closed. Quit. Okay, I'm gonna try again. So I'm in Sketchbook. Here it is. Okay. Okay, here we go. Command K. Yes, did you see what happened? It opened up where the sketch is saved. So you can try it on your own machine too. If you've saved your sketch and you press Control-K or Command-K in a Mac, it opens up the sketch. And you can just drag taco.png in there. There it is. Now, you won't see .png on these computers because they're set up kind of unfortunately. But that's okay. It's in the right place. So that's step 2. Get your picture saved in the right folder, which is your sketch folder. And if you're not sure how to do that, press Control-K. Yeah? Good? Okay. Step 3 is actually writing the code to bring the PNG file into processing, which is a little bit on the technical side. So, I don't know. Buckle up. I guess it's a little bit fancy looking. Probably the fanciest looking code we've done so far. It is going to require you to make a variable to hold the picture. It's in a file right now, but we want to load it into our program. And technically what's happening here, for anyone who knows anything about hardware, is it's stored on your hard drive right now, but you want to bring it into the computer's RAM and the running memory of the computer. So that means you need a variable. Either way, if you know anything about those words or not, doesn't really matter. Make it a variable to store a picture. But what kind of variable? Usually you go like int x, right? Or float z, or something like that. What kind of variable holds a picture? So it's called a p-image variable. It looks like this. P-I, both capital, and then M-A-G-E. I like to call it a pi-mage variable because it sort of separates what letters are capitalized. And I also just like the idea of a wizard that masters circles and uses like pi as like some kind of magical word to make things happen, like recites pi to a certain number of digits to like cause things to like teleport and things like that. So pi mage or p image, depending on how you want to break that up. But it's capital P, capital I either way. If it turns orange, you know you did it right. Yeah? Good? Just like int turns orange or float or I don't know what else we've done. I forget what all we've done so far. But there it is. Now you're going to give it a name. So you give your picture a name, and it doesn't have to be the same as the file name. So just to make sure it's clear that these are not the same thing, I'm going to call this taco picture. You don't have to call it such a long name, but I just want to be really clear that the name of the variable does not have to be the same as the name of the file. Are we still good? Everyone's Doing okay so far? Yeah, so remember, step 1, find your picture. Look for transparent backgrounds. Step 2, download it to the right place, which is your sketch folder. Press Control K if you're not sure. Step 3, put in the code. So far we've made a variable to make sure that we can store the picture in our running program. Next step, I guess I should put size. Hey, we probably need some size program. I'll make it 800 by 600. Every program's got that. So now we actually write the code that will load that particular file into this particular variable. So we want to link the file to the variable. So I'm going to say the name of the variable, taco picture, got to spell it right, equals, and then you give it a function. The function is the function that loads images. You know what it's called? It's called load image. I love it that processing made that as straightforward as possible. It does have a capital I in the middle of it though, so watch out. If you type in lowercase I,
feel like every second word
yeah, you got it. And the term for that is called camel case. So if you ever hear someone talk about camel case, that's the pattern they're talking about. Yeah, it's better than underscores. Some people use underscores, but it's just faster. So yeah, watch out for that. In fact, I'm gonna camel case my taco picture. I didn't want to confuse anybody, but since we started talking about it, everybody writes their variable names using this camel case thing where they capitalize every second, third, fourth, and so on word. So what is load image? You need to give it one parameter, which is going to be the file name. What's my file name? Do you guys remember? Taco.png. Yeah, remember, it's the whole package. You got to have the name and the extension. So I put parentheses, and unfortunately, you can't just type in the name. You have to put the name in quotations. I know it seems like a lot of work, but it's just taco.png. Note the parentheses and the quotations. It seems a little bit ridiculous, but I'll just zoom into that line so you can see what's going on. If you forget the quotations, it'll think it's a variable. But if you put it in quotations, it knows you mean the file that its name is taco.png. Like it reads that in as text. Yeah, Ryan, you got a question? Or is that just stretching? Stretching, no problem. Stretching's important. Okay, so we've loaded the picture. You might wonder, well, what does that look like if you run that, Mr. Pelletier? It looks like nothing. Because loading the picture isn't the same as drawing it on the screen. So loading the picture means that taco picture variable is ready to be drawn, but you still actually have to go and draw it. And guess what? That's going to be in the draw function. Well-named function, isn't it? So how do you draw a picture? Well, it's the image function. And it's kind of annoying. I have to say, as good as processing is for naming things, this is pretty confusing. P-image, load image, image. Like there's so many image names, it's easy to get confused. So you might want to put some comments in your code just to remind yourself about what each of these different things is doing. This one is the variable type. This one is the function to bring the picture out of the file. This is the one to draw the picture on the screen. So the way the image function for drawing works is you give it the variable that you want to draw. So mine's called taco picture. And then you give it the x and y coordinates of where you want to put it. And it's kind of like a rect in terms of where the x and y is. It's the top left-hand corner of the image. So if I say 50-50, that 50-50 will be the top left-hand corner of my taco picture. So let's run it and see what that looks like. Oh, that's so weird. It's glowing. I guess it wasn't as transparent as I thought. Or maybe that's more awesome. Why wouldn't I want a glowing taco? But, you know, I guess that's just an artifact of my picture that I chose. And I didn't notice that it had glowing pixels around it. Which is fine. I don't mind. Now, there's one more thing I wanted to mention. That is, how do you change the size of the picture? Because this picture is a little bit big for a button, right? That's dominating my whole project. So to change the size, I recommend after you load the picture to change the size. And after you've loaded it, so notice I'm in my setup again, but I'm going after the load image. You can say taco picture dot resize, which is a weird thing, this dot resize. But we'll get into that more in the future. But that just means this resize function is applying to the taco picture. And you can just give it a width and a height. So I could say 100, 100, for example. And then taco picture is going to be permanently changed so that its width is 100 and its height is 100. So if I run this, you'll see a smaller taco. Ooh, a little bit squished. So maybe I'll make it a little bit fatter. So I'll make it 150. There we go. That's a little bit smaller. So there you go. We got our loading, our declaring a variable, loading the picture, resizing it to be the size you want, and then actually drawing it on the screen. And remember, we're not going to make it so that we can actually click and drag and draw tacos. We're not going to do that today. I think some students in my last class just got obsessed with drawing Darth Vader all over the place. And they actually figured out how to do it a little bit, but that's not really our goal right now. Our goal is just to get the buttons on the screen. So have whatever you want. Could be a taco, could be a picture of anything you want, really. Whatever your choice is, and then we'll go from there. Yeah, Reese.
All of your buttons on the screen PNG.
You could totally do that if you want to, as long as you treat some of them as circles. So we do the math of the circles. But if you want to go all out, that would be a pretty snazzy thing to do. For example, all of Photoshop's buttons, those icons, are PNG somewhere in its program.
Yeah, like I was thinking, like, what if I could do that?
You could totally do that. It's a lot of extra work though, but it would totally be a thing you could do. So I don't want anyone to just like think that's what you should do. That would be taking on way more work than the project is going to require. But if you're like, I want to do that, then that's great. You might want to just draw the project as it is currently. So just to set up all the math. Yeah. Like just try to stick with the regular stuff. And if you have time, then you can substitute them with PNGs. And that would be fantastic. And that way, if you realize at some point you're like, oh, I just don't have time to do all this stuff, then you still have an awesome program. As opposed to starting off with that and then running out of time and then like, oh, I got nothing. So that's my recommendation for you or anybody else who wants to try that out. Okay, so that's how you would get these images inside. It's all about that list of code. I'm going to stop the video now and upload it so you can watch that again.